Hey guys, welcome back to Today we're going to be talking about
Squash 101.
Everything that you need to know if you're a beginner or just a newcomer to squash in general. Starting with the rules, regulations, and how to play the game of squash. The objective is to hit the ball against the front wall of the squash court so your opponent cannot return it before it bounces on the floor twice. All you really need to start playing is a racket, a ball, and just non-marking squash shoes. It's very similar to tennis if you think about it, in which when the ball goes over the net, it's the other person's turn to hit, but instead of a net, we have a front wall. In terms of the court layout, the game is played in a four-walled court with lines marking the service areas, the tin at the bottom of the front wall, and out markers on both the top of the front wall and the top of the side walls.
For gameplay, there's a serve, return of serve, the hidden shots after, which is considered rallying. For the serve, you have to have 1 foot in the service box, hit it on the front wall, and it has to land in the box of the other side of your opponent's side. For return of serve, you just have to hit the ball back for the serve. You can hit it anywhere, it just has to hit the front wall. And for rallying out, you can hit anywhere in the wall, side wall. The main objective is to hit the front wall for the last shot before it hits the floor. For scoring, there's points, games, and matches. Basically, the overall objective to win a match is win 3 games out of 5. You can go any order, 3-2, 3-1, whichever, back and forth, right?
Or 3-0.
Or 3-0. Yeah. And for points, it's basically whoever reaches 11 first, but there's also one condition. If you get tied at 10 all, both points is win by 2. It can either be 12-10, 13-11, or it can go on forever until whoever wins by 2. One of the bigger components of squash, lets and strokes, which is not really much seen in other sports. There's lets, where a player is obstructing the other player from playing the point, and where they can actually play the point, but since there's so much interference, they have to play a let. As well with strokes, where there's so much interference where the player can't play the ball, and for the safety of their player, or you might hit the other player during the rally, you're awarded a point.
So in terms of scoring, just for a quick recap, if you get a let, that means do the whole point over. If you get a stroke, that means whoever gains the stroke gets a point. There was enough obstruction for it to be deemed as, I'd say in basketball terms, a flagrant foul.
Those were the rules of squash. Very simplified, just for you guys. And as well, if you want to know more in detail about the rules and how to actually play and all that stuff, all the technical things, we will link the PSA website for all the rules in the description below. So make sure to check that out.
We'll also be listing squash skills as a resource that you can check out. There are plenty of videos going into the rules of squash a lot more in depth than we just did.
Yeah.
But there's still a great channel that you should check out. Now, the interesting part. We're going to give you guys an in-depth guide on how to play squash from our perspectives. See, we've been playing squash for a little bit ourselves, and not to toot our own horns, but we're not too bad. So I'd like to give us a chance to coach you guys as if you were newbies you were teaching.
There's a couple shots you can hit on the squash court. There's boast, lobs, drives, drops, and my favorite, nicks. And those are only 5 of the shots that people hit consistently in the court. There's so many more shots, a lot of trick shots that pros hit, right? Other people hit that are stupendous. So,
and I mean, we're talking about
Mizukis,
cross-court nicks, we're
fan
talking
hits,
triple boasts. We're talking about. There are so many shots that just absolutely make the game unpredictable. So, as of right now, what would you think is the most important squash shot? I think it's an easy question.
Oh yeah, drives. Really.
It's a straight line drive.
Straight line drives.
It's
Yeah.
a straight line drive. It is the most played shot in a squash match, I'd assume, unless you're at a lower level, which isn't a problem. But that squash drive will get you far. What you think?
It can carry you up the ranks substantially. If you have a great drive, perfect length, nice and tight, it will win you so many points, it's ridiculous.
And the point is to move your opponent around the tee as far as you can so that it makes their life more difficult to retrieve the shots that you're hitting. So something like a straight line drive, It's just perfect to have in your toolkit.
Now, let's talk about my favorite shot. Nicks, or some other people call them rollers. Nick is basically when you hit the ball on the front wall and it hits the little corners of the court. Nicks and rollers are basically what the NBA calls getting dunked on. Straight bow. So basically, just imagine John Morant coming at you 45 miles an hour. Boom.
John, the late game situation.
Just absolutely disrespectful. It's just one of my favorite shots. Once you see that ball up in the air, floating nice and high, boom. Just nothing can beat that.
I'm telling you right now, it is a complete mood ruiner if you are on the receiving end of a cross-court volley, Nick. And it is the biggest hype moment when you're the one to do it. I mean, it is a difficult shot. It's a very technical shot. Well, it's difficult for me. I don't know if it's difficult for him. But it's a very difficult shot that requires a lot of skill, a lot of timing. But once you hit it, rally's over. That's your point. We're on to the next one. So, I mean, you're going to see a lot of these professionals doing it. And it is it's the definition of a slam dunk in squash. You see it, it looks easy. It's not easy.
We'll have a little montage, 2-3 seconds, 2-3 shots. A little pros hitting a couple nicks. It's absolutely devastating.
These nicks right here, I'd equate them to a couple slam dunks in the NBA. But let us know in the comments if you see them the same way.
I mean, this is just the second round of the.
So, Vanel, what's your favorite play style? How do you like to play squash?
I'd say I'm a fairly paced out player. I don't play too aggressively, and I'm not just waiting in the back for, things to go my way. I just have a certain rhythm that I like to play in, and if I can get my opponent to play at my rhythm, or I can force them to speed up or slow down, it's a win in my book. I mean, these are just thought-provoking questions when it comes to squash at a certain level. I'd say if you're a beginner or a newbie, what would you say is the most important thing for them to know?
Literally, the most important part is how to hold a racket and use your racket face.
That's good. That's good.
Learning how to use your racket face will carry you very far. Because literally, you can have bad movement or bad positioning, but if your racket face is in a good position, or you know how to maneuver your racket face, you can hit shots so well. You don't have to. The technique can carry you so far for squash.
Yeah, I hear that. I'd say you almost touched on it. Movement. A good ghosting session in which you're touching every corner of the court. It's tiring, but that level of conditioning will get you right into active gameplay. It'll keep you in any rally. It's just. I think it's absolutely peak.
Yeah. Once you reach a certain level for squash, everybody's fit. Everybody knows how to move. Then it just turns into a mental game. Straight shot selection, what shots to hit, how to move your opponent around, when to hit certain shots. It just becomes so more mentally straining once you reach a certain level for squash.
100% agree. 100% agree. But it's a fun game.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's my favorite game to play.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's yours.
Definitely.
It's just something that is intense, and it is, oh my goodness, just thinking about it.
And all right, guys, that has been our Squash 101. Very concise, very short, kind of just giving a brief glimpse and taste of what squash is. As well, we will be doing more videos of more in-depth videos of what squash and basically the intricacies of the playing styles and the rules.
Yeah.
As well, if you enjoyed, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that ding bell icon.
And we can't wait to see you guys again. See you later.